cutting across to this big breaking news coming in. Very tragic news of 3 soldiers killed in action in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri. 2 army vehicles have been ambushed. 3 soldiers killed. Approximately at 3:45 p.m. on December 21st, that's today, 2 army vehicles carrying troops were moving to operational site where they were fired upon by terrorists. In fact, the fire was immediately retaliated by our own troops. Unfortunately, 3 soldiers have died. In the ongoing operation, our troops sustained 3 fatalities and 3 non-fatal casualties. 3 fatal and 3 non-fatal casualties. In fact, operation that's currently still in progress, as we understand that encounter is still on in that region. And while you had additional security forces of the army moving towards reinforcing that operation against the terror groups, that's when they were ambushed by terrorists, terror elements, and unfortunately 3 of them have died. So, more details that emerge. Shiv Aroor joins us live right from the newsroom. Shiv, a 3rd ambush in Rajouri this year alone. It's shocking that Rajouri Poonch district really comprises of nearly 40% of security casualties this year alone.
A very, very tragic development coming in from the Thana Mandi area of Rajouri sector, which, like you rightly said, Nabila, is the 3rd ambush of this kind this year alone. There were five soldiers and officers who were killed in action in an encounter in November, less than a month ago. In May this year, another 5 special forces men lost their lives in an encounter, and now you've got the ambush on a vehicle in which 3 soldiers have lost their lives and 3 more are fighting for their lives. They've also sustained gunshot wounds. The images coming in from the ground are obviously horrifying. We aren't showing any live pictures, just to make that very clear to our viewers. But this particular sector, the Poonch Rajouri sector, has been extremely, extremely precarious. Even though there is a ceasefire across the line of control, Nabila, the Rajouri Poonch sector has been a highway for infiltration, a highway for elevated violence all through the year, ever since that ceasefire came into effect, and that has been a huge concern area for the army. The Dera Ki Gali area in Thana Mandi is a pretty high altitude zone, pretty forested, mountainous area, difficult to actually navigate, many hiding places not very far from the line of control where terrorists who infiltrate can hide, can sustain themselves for a very long time, and therefore to be ambushed in this manner is not surprising, but it actually points to the fact that the army continues to face these very, very real challenges here. Remember that terrorism overall may have actually come down in Jammu and Kashmir following the abrogation of Article 370, but the Rajouri Poonch sector continues to be a huge problem area, as has been borne out by today's incident.
Right. Like you rightly said, we understand that terrorism has dropped, at least militancy that has been dealt with by and large, but it is the Rajouri Poonch sector that's really acting up as an anomaly, a dark patch for even the security forces. But as of now, on the news that we've heard, we hear 3 army personnel have died and 3 others are critical. Shiv, would you be able to tell us if this was an ongoing operation of which additional forces were called in, and while they were en route, they were ambushed?
That's right. This encounter actually began last night in this same area, and reinforcements were obviously called in, because this encounter wasn't ending. Contact had been established with the terrorists. We don't yet have a number of how many, are part of the firefight. But the fact that the enforcements needed to be called in suggests that either there were a larger number of terrorists, or this was, proving to be challenging because the terrorists may have had a terrain advantage. They may have had a position of advantage vis-a-vis the army. So we don't know which particular unit this is. It's still very sensitive, Nabila, because it's an ongoing operation. So the army also, will not release any of that information. We won't be putting out any unit information until there is a confirmation. So the only thing we know so far is that 3 men have lost their lives. 3 are fighting for their lives. There isn't even a confirmation, in fact, whether the 3 injured have been, safely evacuated. Because remember, this is a firefight zone, where firing is continuing even as we speak. So anyone who goes to try and evacuate those who are injured risks also coming into the line of fire of the terrorists. But the army says that the 3 men who are injured have been recovered. there could be a threat to others. There were 2 vehicles, remember, that were ambushed. A total of, we don't know how many people were there in each vehicle and what the condition is of the others who are in those 2 gypsies. But we're awaiting another update, perhaps a little later from now, from the army.
All right, Shiv. Thanks very much. Really tragic. Our hearts going out. Condolences going out to the families of those martyrs. 3 of them have been confirmed dead. The numbers could go up. 3 more are said to be critical. We're very closely tracking those developments. All right, let me shift our focus here to that Parliament showdown, a stalemate, right towards the fag end of the winter session of the Parliament. We saw it ending on a note where 146 MPs were suspended en masse in the last 3 days itself. Now, we hear today itself 3 more opposition MPs were suspended, as I mentioned, taking up the total to a record-breaking 146. While the India bloc has hit the streets protesting against the suspension, BJP is staging its own protest over mimicry video by TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee. Well, this is really the showdown that we witnessed over the last 3 days, but a real historic, unprecedented development that came in is that 146 MPs have been suspended. That's really the highlight. But what's been the takeaway is the mimicry that Kalyan Banerjee indulged in. Danish Ali, who is one of the suspended MPs himself of the BSP, joining us live. Thanks very much, sir, for speaking to us. How would you view the suspension? 146 MPs who've been suspended en masse. It appears that after a point, it almost was expected. Day after day, multiple suspensions, and not just for the day, for the remainder of the winter session. Your views on that?
No, this is very unfortunate, and that whole opposition was suspended. And this shows that BJP does not believe in the parliamentary democracy at all. Their slogan was earlier Congress Mukt Bharat, but now they want opposition Mukt Bharat. They have already done opposition Mukt Parliament by suspending 150 odd MPs. They have said earlier Congress Mukt Bharat. They have done Muslim Mukt legislature. Now they have done opposition Mukt Parliament.
You know, but as much as you say that, we see that the opposition India bloc have united on this very issue. It's given you a push to come together as one unit. A good reason here.
See, it's not that this issue has given the opposition to unite, but it shows the mindset of the ruling dispensation. That, see, the people, the BJP members who used the parliament forum to abuse another MP like me. He is there, he is speaking on the bills, he is being fielded by the BJP as an official member to speak on the bills. He has not been suspended, no action against him. But opposition members who are questioning the government on the same issue, on the questioning the government on the intruders, that how intruders came, at least Home Minister should make a statement. We have been suspended. तो गाली देने वाले अंदर बैठेंगे, सवाल पूछने वाले बाहर जाएंगे.
Well, no doubt that this is unbelievable to see 146 MPs who were suspended. Ideally, suspension should happen sparingly, but here you have en masse suspension. And your protests that you've launched today in different parts of the country, in Delhi and also other parts of India, we believe the Congress has launched pan-India protests against suspension. Has this really resonated with the people at large, do you believe?
See, country is viewing how, why these opposition members are being suspended, and country is also viewing how the so-called mainstream media is in the trap of the BJP narrative, that they are using the constitutional position also.
That is your view.
That Kalyan Banerjee's mimicry outside the parliament has become a national agenda for the BJP. The person, Honorable Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar, is the Honorable Vice President of India. And if you compare Rajya Sabha Chairman, Vice President of India, using his identity, that he's from a Jat community and he's from the farmers, this is not fair on his part also and on BJP's part also. Because once he's on the constitutional position, like I was abused in Parliament. I never said that he has attacked my identity. I said that I am an elected representative. What Ramesh Bidudi said on the floor of the House is not for only Danish Ali. It is shameful for every member of the Parliament. अभी पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर कहते हैं, सरकार कहती है कि ऑपोजिशन के एमपीज ने संसद की मर्यादा भंग की है. मुझे समझ नहीं आता, संसद की मर्यादा जब गालियां दी जाती हैं तब ज्यादा भंग होती है या सरकार से सवाल पूछने पर ज्यादा भंग होती है. मेरे को गालियां पड़ी तो मैंने वो सवाल जो है केवल सिर्फ अपनी कम्युनिटी का सवाल नहीं बनाया, मैंने वो संसद की मर्यादा का सवाल बनाया. लेकिन मुझे ताज्जुब हो रहा है यहाँ पर कि बीजेपी जो है माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति जी को खाली उनकी जात के प्रिज्म से देख रही है, which is very unfortunate.
Sir, but what's also, one would say that you've given a fit reason for the BJP to condemn you. You're seated outside, you've been suspended, you're seated outside and you're insulting the chair of the Rajya Sabha by mimicking Jagdeep Dhankar. You've placed an issue into the hands of the BJP.
What is it? Rahul Gandhi ji has already said it, that he has not uploaded that video anywhere. You also know and we also know from which angle that video was shooted, and who shooted it and how it was circulated.
We understand that part, Danish Ali, but at the end of it, it all happened inside the parliament. Whether Rahul Gandhi tweeted that video or put it out on social media or not is a different issue. But you all were mocking the chair inside the parliament, right outside, seated on the stairs at the Makar Dwar.
What is there if opposition members are not allowed and they are holding a mock parliament? And Kalyan Banerjee has already said he was not mocking the chairman of Rajya Sabha. This is out of proportion. They have blown up this issue.
All right. So, since I'd like to ask you a quick word as we hear the India bloc meeting has just ended, where yesterday there was a lot of talk that Akhilesh Yadav is opposed to the idea of inviting the BSP, Mayawati, into the India bloc coalition partnership. What's your view on that? I know that you are suspended, but do you have a say here for the BSP?
No. I am a suspended member of the BSP. I am a suspended member of Lok Sabha because I am fighting the mighty of BJP and this government, which I believe it's a fascist government, which do not allow the opposition voice in the parliament. So I don't know what happened in the India Alliance meeting, and I am not an authorized person to speak on that.
No, but is Mayawati, in your view, with the BJP? Is Mayawati backing the BJP as per Akhilesh? Would you agree? As I said, I am a suspended member. If I say yes, then people will say because he has been suspended, that's why he is speaking like this. If I say no, then you will say that you don't have the authority to speak on behalf of BSP. So that's why I'm not making any comment. Okay. Let me take a final question here. Are you with the India bloc?
I am with the people of my constituency. I am with the people of my country. जो इस देश का शोषित वंचित पीड़ित समाज है, जो किसान हैं, जो नौजवान हैं, जो इश्यूज हैं, मैं उनके साथ हूं, मैं उन लोगों के साथ हूं। जब कहीं पर हमला होता है, अगर किसी महिला सांसद की अस्मिता पर हमला होता है, तो आई एम देयर, आई वॉज देयर इन द एथिक्स कमिटी टू अपोज इट। आई एम एवरीवेयर टू अपोज सच टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स एंड आई विल कंटिन्यू टू अपोज Bharatiya Janata Party's anti-people policies.
Thank you very much, Danish Ali, for joining us on that. I'm going to quickly cut across now. A quick word from Ami Ben Yagnik, MP Rajya Sabha, and also a national spokesperson of the Congress, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. Ami Ben, if I may ask, suspension has happened. 146 members have got, the number of suspension has gone up to 146 today, with an additional 3 MPs sent out. This is how the winter session ended. What a massive way to conclude, or the most controversial way to conclude this year, and maybe the biggest showdown ever before 2024 Lok Sabha.
I think you should look at it in a way that 3 important criminal bills have been bulldozed, in a sense that there was no opposition. So there is not a single submission or submission put forward on behalf of the people for whom the opposition represents. So none of us could come to the parliament and speak on these important bills, and because they are touching the lives of all the people of this country, very important bills, I think the opposition, after being suspended, is not allowed to speak, because we can't go in the house and we can make submissions on these 3 important bills. That is how I look at it, because the simple request of the opposition parties was that such a massive lapse of security has taken place, a breach of safety and security has taken place in the Parliament House, and especially when you know that the intruders who came, who jumped and all the smoke came out, were issued a pass by one of the sitting BJP members of Parliament. It would have been very easy to ask the person how it has happened, and the Honorable Union Minister, Home Minister, should have come and made a statement. He should have been worried about the people and the people in the Parliament, the MPs in the Parliament, the security and safety issue of the Parliament. He should have himself rushed and made a statement.
It's a valid question, surely. It is a valid question, no doubt. And Sanju Verma on that. Sanju Verma, 3 bills that have been passed on opposition-less parliament. It was done deliberately. There was many of the MPs who did not even storm to the well of the House, may not have even raised slogans in such a manner, were sent out. Suspension came in as if it was so easy for one to be suspended, while the rules say that it should be sparing. Until and unless one really commits an act of absolute disorder, a suspension is the last option. But here you have 146 MPs. They call the government fascist.
You know, I heard a lengthy monologue even by Danish Ali on the same issue, Nabila. And I just want to make a few quick points. On your channel, with your colleagues, I on debates have said that what was told to Danish Ali, I condemn that, despite being the national spokesperson of BJP, because I think, you know, we should not condone any form of stereotypes against any particular community. I strongly believe in that. Having said that, I also would like to call out the bluff and hypocrisy of people who take offense to what Ramesh Biduri said against Danish Ali. But when Danish Ali said that नीच को नीच नहीं बुलाएंगे तो क्या कहेंगे, in a clear reference to the Prime Minister, ये सब लोग जो दानिश अली के समर्थन में आ गए हैं सड़क पर, इन सब के मुंह में फेविकॉल लग गया था. So this is the hypocrisy that I take strong offense to. Point number 1. Point number 2, the Vice President, the Chair of the House, you know, forget about the fact that he's a jock, he's an OBC, he's a reputed lawyer, he's a senior citizen, he comes from a farming background. The fact is, as the presiding officer of the House, he said he will have a discussion wide Rule 267 on the parliamentary security breach, which is what most MPs were demanding. But after that, when there was repeat jumping into the well of the House, throwing paper rockets, sloganeering, carrying placards, with folded hands, he said, please sit down, we will have a discussion. It is then that he took the action wide Rule 255 and 256 of the rules of procedure of the House. So it is not unconstitutional. He enjoys. When I say he, I mean the presiding officer of the House enjoy sweeping powers bestowed on him by the Constitution. Now, my third important point, Nabila, I always say that the devil is in the detail. You look at the budget session. During the budget session in February 2023, we had very little business which was transacted in the Rajya Sabha because at that time, repeatedly the opposition staged walkouts on the Adani issue despite the fact that in January 2023, the Supreme Court had already formed a 7-member high-powered committee to probe the Adani matter under the aegis of Justice Sapre, who's an ex-Chief Justice of the Guwahati High Court. Then you look at the monsoon session. In the monsoon session, I remember who moved the no confidence motion against the Modi government. It was Gaurav Gogoi. And on the final day, on the 10th of August 2023, when the Prime Minister was answering every single allegation pertaining to the Manipur issue, Gaurav Gogoi, Rahul Gandhi, the entire opposition staged a walkout. And forget about the monsoon session. Let's talk about the discussion on Article 370. Do you remember what Amit Shah said? After speaking for 5 to 6 hours, the opposition had ample time. The moment Amit Shah started speaking, Mallikarjun Kharge said, "हम तो निकलने लगे हैं." And Amit Shah then said, "Kharge साहब, आपको सुनना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मैंने विपक्ष की बातें लगातार 6 घंटे के लिए सुनी हैं." So basically, the opposition believes shoot and scoot. आप तो बोलेंगे पर दूसरे को बोलने नहीं देंगे, and then you will play the victim card.
Let me get Ami Ben on that. Ami Ben, is that right? You ask for a conversation, you ask the Prime Minister and the Home Minister to address an issue, but when they begin to speak, you want to stage a walkout because you don't trust the word that comes from them. So what's the point in creating a ruckus and ending if you could have had a civil discussion and had a more fruitful week, because you knew very well also that 3 bills are going to be tabled?
Let me first clarify that there was no rocket throwing. We just asked by filing notices which are required under the rule and procedure in the House. Several MPs had filed notices every day, including myself, but the notices at the very threshold at 11 o'clock were not entertained and were told that we are not entertaining that in those notices, and hence there will be no, we don't want to have any discussion on that. And the only request of all the opposition members was that the Honorable Union Home Minister should come to the House, make a statement why such a breach has happened. That was the only request, and that should have happened on his own, suo moto. There should not have been a request coming from the members of the parliament by opposition or any member of parliament. Even the ruling dispensation members cannot speak a single word. So we asked for it, but he did not come. Every day we requested, he did not come. Such a serious lapse, such a serious
Sanju
security.
Varma, you want to respond to that?
No, yes, 1 minute, let me complete.
I'll come to you, Ami Ben. A quick word, Sanju, on that.
And that is why
many requests were not entertained. Requests of the opposition were not addressed.
And immediately, we are suspended and we are out of the House. We are unable to contribute to any bills, and that is why I think such a massive suspension, and nobody is bothered about that. And you are trying to take it on a tangential debate.
You need to give me
Okay, Sanju Varma, your take on that. Requests were denied and an immediate suspension followed.
Let's be very clear about this. Ever since Narendra Modi came to the helm of affairs in 2014, you please look at the track record of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha, the BJP has a brute majority, and at times the productive efficiency has exceeded 100%, 102%, 106%, 109%. But in Rajya Sabha, where we do not have a brute majority, you look at the productive efficiency in the last 9.5 years. There you will see that sometimes, the productive efficiency has fallen to 28%. Sometimes the House is working only to 37%.
Okay, but addressing the issue at hand, speaking of the parliamentary security breach, we barely have 10 seconds. Addressing the parliament security breach, they were not allowed to ask questions. Their demands were struck down. Their demands were struck down on the parliamentary security breach, ma'am.
Your questions are valid, but you have to allow me to answer them. You can't answer on my behalf, Nabila.
No, I don't want you to go back in history. You're going back in time. I want you to address the issue at hand.
Let me speak. Yes, I got you. I had to give that history to put things in context. But I will answer your question. Nabila, it is as simple as this. This entire charade, democracy khatre mein hai, constitution, samvidhan khatre mein hai, that is a whole lot of hogwash, and I'll tell you why. The DG CRPF, Anish Dayal Singh, has been given the opportunity, the responsibility, and he's accountable as to why this breach happened in the first place. He will submit his recommendations to Home Minister Amit Shah, and after that, the Home Minister will respond to every single query, but the Home Minister will not have a gun
we
to
heard
his
you
head.
on that. Thank you very much. We heard you, Sanju. Thank you very much, Ami Ben. Thank you, Sanju Verma, for joining us. Appreciate your time. Well, clearly the opposition and the centre at this point not looking eye to eye. The winter session has been a near washout with 3 bills that have been tabled, but sans the opposition members in the parliament. 146 members who've been suspended, almost a history that it's made. We're going to continue following those details, protests as it continues over the suspension. For now, thanks for watching.